How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Wish. They do have earnings that is coming up on March the 1st. Many people are asking my thoughts and they want to have a good idea what the price action could potentially look like. So we'll talk about it in this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the selling and the buying behavior on the institutional side and as well as on the retail side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Wish. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $2.27, being up 4.13%. On the low, it tested $2.06, and then on the high, testing $2.28. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 27.953 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 25.927 million shares. So we did have above average volume on the day, and we ended up seeing some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is at 45.66. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So the first thing I want to bring to your attention as far as this 21-day EMA, it has been an area of resistance for Wish. So we end up putting out a solid earnings report on March the 1st. I'm actually looking for Wish to get to $3. And we know that $3 is a psychological area, but when we had announcement of the new CEO, we got to around the 290s. So it's putting out a solid earnings report or just an earnings beat. I don't see why we can't go back to 3. Now, as far as what you want to see, if we end up having a pullback now, especially if we see weakness inside of the market, I want to see Wish continue to hold up $2. But if they end up releasing earnings and it doesn't look good, then we can see the stock get down to around, I would say around $1.56. This is very doable. So that is just one thing to keep in mind because we did test the low of $1.83. So with that said, let's see if Wish can put out some solid earnings and we can start looking forward to a next move up because I feel like this stock is definitely ready to break out if we end up getting a good catalyst, which I would expect would come from earnings. But hey, we're just gonna have to wait, be patient, see what happens. So let's go on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Wish. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for the 25th, you can see IGM that purchased 86,948 shares. And we also have SPGM that purchased 8,725 shares. We do see some closed positions, but we also do see a new position here from Virtu Financial LLC for 117,104 shares. And another noticeable one to keep an eye on, we have the California State Teachers Retirement System on February the 15th filing that purchased 236,485 shares. And another thing that I want to bring to your attention, when we take a look at the institutional activity from our graph here, we can see for February there seems to be a lot of buying coming in. So are institutions bullish about earnings? I guess we're going to have to wait this week to find out, but this is definitely a good look right here. So now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 41.18%. And then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 4.43 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated just now. And then for the short borrow free rate for the latest, it was at 0.60 with the max being at 0.70. And then when we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 24th, it was at 49.43. 43. And then for the close of the 25th, it was at 41.18. So that is a significant decrease right there, but one thing that still remains the same, Wish has short squeeze potential. So now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Wish. So we see here on the inflow, it is at 9.40, and then on the outflow, it's at 10.29. So we ended up having an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown on the large, it was 1.87. On the medium, it was 5.32, and on the small, it was 2.21. Keep in mind these numbers in the millions. I want to make sure I emphasize that. And then on the outflow side, on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 7.72, and then on the small, it was 2.57. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for the past 2 trading days, institutions or whales have been loading up on shares. We see this on the 24th with 0.4 million, and we also do see on February the 25th, which was on Friday, was at 1.87 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, this is where we see there was more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 4.77%. Yes, this is up there, but we have to understand it has been a volatile time inside of the market. But one thing that is clear, we do see institutions have been loading up on shares, and it did end up finishing green on the Friday, which is good to see. So this is why I want to make sure you guys are prepared. So we'll talk about it further inside of the final thoughts. So let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for Wish in regards to earnings, here's a few things that you're going to want to take a look at. As far as for the consensus estimates in regards to revenue, it is around 313 million. If they could do a beat on revenue, this would definitely be a good look, especially when management was speaking on their last earnings report. They were saying that Q4 revenue was going to come below Q3 revenues. Remember, they said they wanted to lower costs, so they weren't going to do as much marketing or putting as much money into marketing like they did previously. And keeping in mind, we did have the holidays and so forth that are going to be on this Q4 report. If they end up doing a surprise beat, I feel like this stock can make a strong move to the upside. Another thing to understand, they do have a decline when it comes to website traffic. So these are things that we cannot ignore. And this is why if we do end up getting a beat, it just shows as far as retention and as well as the new strategies that they're trying to use to actually make sure more customers are using the platform could go a long way, because it just means current customers on the platform are spending more money, and I think that's what the market wants to see. So a lot of people are saying if they're able to beat in these particular areas and show some strong guidance for 2022, especially when it comes to profitability, and since they do have just over $1 billion in cash on their balance sheet, it still gives them enough time for a turnaround. So guidance has to be strong, and that's why I say as far as for the price action, if we can get above $2.67, I don't see any reason why Wish shouldn't be able to get above $3. Remember when they did an announcement for the new CEO, it got to around $2.90 or somewhere in the $2.90 range. So that was a pretty strong pop. So I think the next catalyst, which potentially could be earnings, could send us above $3. And that's why I have this game plan and strategy, but let's see if it actually comes all together. Also, when we went on Fintel, one thing that was very clear as far as to the recent institutional ownership, institutions have been loading up on shares, and they've been doing it as of late. And we also did notice this on the order flow as far as for Thursday and for Friday that just passed. So again, things are definitely looking really good right now. And also when we went and took a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. This is why you want to keep a very close eye on this play and keep it on your radar. And if you are a long-term investor, you're going to want to pay close attention to what is mentioned in that earnings report. This is why I emphasize doing your homework and as well as your due diligence before making an investment, especially with the choppy times that we have inside of the market. So let's see if we can continue to hold up that $2 level, and if worse comes to worse, if that $2 level does break, or maybe we put out a bad earnings report, then I can see this stock pulling back to around $1.56. But again, I'm not looking for that. So let's see Wish get to at least $3 sometime this week, most preferably being above $2.67. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.